You are listening to Eagles post-game analysis here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest-running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world. 12 and a half years strong. We got a great post-game show coming your way as the Philadelphia Eagles here in Week 8 beat and just absolutely annihilate, which I loved seeing. We all love seeing it in Eagles Nation. The New York Giants, they just killed them by a score of 38-20. They are now 6-2 on the season. Probably the best victory so far of this season. And to join us this week to dive into our themes and to give our grades, we've got our good friend from the Honorable Mention podcast. I listen on Apple Podcasts and watch on YouTube. Search out the Honorable Mention podcast. We've got our great friend, Matt Rogers. My friend, thank you so much for filling in for the guys here. And, man, I got to tell you, it was great just watching the Philadelphia Eagles just completely shove it right up the Giants' buttholes after what happened a couple weeks ago, man.
Good. It was great. Great. I mean, before I even get started gloating,
yes,
you want to wish the best to Cam Scadaboo. That was
Absolutely.
a gruesome injury.
I was going to mention it. Yeah,
good.
I was going to mention it myself. Yeah, because we came into this game with AJ Brown, Cam Jurgens, and Adoree Jackson all being out, and then I was going to mention too Cam Scadaboo. Just my gosh. A major ankle dislocation. His foot was basically dangling off his leg. You hate to see that happen to any player in football.
Absolutely.
Really, our thoughts are with him. And in terms of the injuries as well in this game, not too many, but at the end in the fourth quarter, Saquon Barkley tweaked his groin. So thankfully the Eagles have a bye week next week. He's going to be able to nurse that. So thanks for starting us off seriously with the Cam Scadaboo thing. Because seriously, we love football. We definitely don't like the Giants, but we hate when players go down the way that he did. It's terrible. It really is. So
with that said, I am glad that the Eagles kicked their teeth in appropriately. I didn't want to hear anything about people letting the Eagles off the hook. Oh, this is a tougher Giants team. The Eagles defense is ailing. Of course, they're banged up. They don't have great pass rushers, so Jackson Dart's going to be a problem for them and all that. Sure. Fine.
Yes.
But this Eagles team has Super Bowl aspirations, and the other team that was coming into their stadium was 2-5, and it's the New York Giants. They have 2 wins on the season. They now have one more win than the New York Jets. And so the expectation coming into this game was to do exactly what they did to them. And it's great to see the Eagles finally do answer these questions of what is it that the Eagles can do? Do they stay too close to teams because their offense isn't high flying? Now we have Jalen Hurts with 4 touchdown passes and the running attack absolutely just demolishing Tank Bigsby out there. I mean, I loved it. And the benching of AJ Dillon, there's so many themes. I mean, I don't want to call it a benching. Maybe they decided to use them. Other backs. I don't know if I saw a snap from AJ Dillon, but I don't want to say he got benched on behalf of the coaching team.
I think they just didn't use them. Yeah, I think they just didn't use them. But before getting into the themes like we like to, and then after our break we'll get into the grades. Matt, coming into this game, there were 3 different aspects of this team that I was really going to be looking at. The first was, and it's a question, was the pass rush going to be more effective, and were they going to be able to get home? I think we are able to say yes in terms of this game in particular. Another one was a question mark regarding the offensive line and their blocking for the run game. Was that going to improve? We obviously saw, that actually happened. And who was going to step up receiving wise, because AJ Brown was out, and we saw guys on this team stepping up in moments, whether it was, even though he only had 1 catch, Jahan Dotson with an amazing catch right at the catch point on 4th down and for a touchdown. You had Dallas Goedert coming through when they needed a big play. And of course, Devontae Smith just taking up that mantle and picking up that mantle of wide receiver 1. Yes. All the questions that I had coming into this, is this going to be effective? Is that going to be effective? Everything was yes. I mean, it, and I love how Jackson Dart apparently said right before the game that he couldn't wait to feel the hostility in Lincoln Financial Field, getting his first start against the Philadelphia Eagles at the Linc. You know what? That's what it was. Yeah, exactly. How did it feel, Jackson? Oh, I absolutely love it. I love it. So I got a bunch of themes to get into here, but do you want to start off with what you particularly were looking at and what we saw here?
I really thought the theme today was making that Jalen Hurts still has other pass catchers that can make plays today. It was
there
so good to get Jahan Dotson the ball today to really going to be a shot in the arm in terms of his confidence. There are ways that you can scheme open Dallas Goedert. I was looking for that. I mean, not having AJ Brown is a big deal because he's one of the best. He's one of the 10 best wide receivers, many days, 5 best wide receivers in football. There's no question about that in my mind. But this Eagles team has enough to beat the likes of the Giants like they did today. It was really good to see that. And so that starts with the offense being able to sustain drives, hit it third down here and there, or just through the passing game. Even if you get behind the sticks, you run on first and second down and it's 3rd and 8. What is it? And if the Eagles can sustain drives and pass the ball like this, they are going to go back to back. I mean, if they can run the ball and Jalen Hurts he's taking care of the football. He's always taking care of the football. He's got 15 touchdown passes now.
Yep.
Touchdown passes to 1 interception. And so the passing game questions, at least for the moment, I feel like have been put to bed in my eyes, but I don't know. What do you think on that theme, Jeff?
Absolutely. Look, when you are a football team, and I was also going to be looking at what the 3rd down conversion was as well, and it kind of goes to what you're talking about. The way that he was passing the football today gave us a glimpse and a picture of how he is a big time playmaker, because 3rd down efficiency, the Eagles were only 2 of 8. But a lot of the big plays that we saw today were on 1st down. They were on 2nd down. There wasn't a lot of 4th down, 4th downs presented to them. And yes, they were 2 of 2 on 4th downs. But I think where you are going with is that the passing game, very prolific. And I think that dovetails, Matt, into a huge theme that all of us have been talking about. We've been looking for it, waiting for it, kind of searching for it. And it was, where does this run game go? The identity of what this team has been now especially last year, but not really this year, is that run and rushing attack going to come back? The second play of the game, it was Saquon Barkley's first rush of the game, and it went for 65 yards and a touchdown. How do you beat a 5-man front? You have 6 offensive linemen blocking them. The Eagles went heavy up front. Everybody won on their one-on-one, and it allowed Saquon Barkley to do the rest. Huge gaping holes for him to run through on that opening rush. And then in the second quarter, he had a receiving touchdown. Barkley did. Just textbook. And that was textbook Jalen Hurts to Barkley. The timing was absolutely perfect. Barkley, by the way, now has, I think, 6 total touchdowns on the season here. I think 6 or 7 at this point. And
hasn't even gotten started yet.
Exactly.
That's another theme for me.
Yes.
Saquon isn't even, the season hasn't even begun for Saquon. He could still go for 1,500.
And he had his 10th career 150-plus yard rushing game here. But really, I think this also goes to something else, too. The offensive line, they were doing a damn good job today. They really did in terms of their run blocking. Offensive blocking looks so much better this week, I think, than it has in fact, all season. I think we have to give a ton of credit to Jeff Stoutland, a ton of credit, too, to one guy who we have all been kicking the crap out of, and that is Brett Toth.
Brett Toth, okay.
I'll be getting to Kevin. But Brett Toth having such a nice game. If you go back, you watch the film, watch the game, folks, having a very nice game, pulling on those outside runs by Barkley throughout the game. I got to give credit where it's deserved, because I've been all over Brett Toth for being a horrendous depth piece on this offensive line. But you mentioned Kevin Patullo also. Probably the best game that he has called so far this season. The first half was absolutely sensational, in my opinion. These are huge themes for me coming in. It looks like last week was the semi-get-right game for this team. This was the get-right game for this Eagles team, for sure, and the offense.
And what I was looking down for the folks who are watching, thank you for watching, and thank you for the people who are listening. I was looking down. I was thinking as we're going through all this, like how many yards did Tank Bigsby end the game with?
Yes.
Look down. He ended the game with 104 yards on 9 carries, folks.
It's fantastic. It is fantastic. Rushing yards in this game by the Eagles was 276. And in fact, the Eagles had 427 total yards in this game. Absolutely dominant. I love how you brought up Tank Bigsby. You know, I was going to get to him with the with our grades, of course, with the running back position, which is obviously going to be like an A++++++. But Tank Bigsby, that's why
holy moly,
you traded 2 draft picks for him to do this. 11.6 yards per carry. And yes, he had that huge 29-yarder as well. Because like that's another theme. That is another theme. I'm glad you brought this up, Matt, because for me, another theme from an offensive perspective is this team can get itself into situations. The offense can get itself into some situations. And it goes to show the resiliency of this Eagles offense. Jalen Hurts ended up running into a 21-yard sack, which we all thought just absolutely killed the drive. It was probably one of the worst plays he's actually run all season. He's just running backwards like, my gosh, what are you doing, Jalen? Was second like 31. And a rushing call to Tank Bigsby, of all people, he actually converted it. He actually got the first down. That is resiliency from this Eagles offense. Another theme here.
I mean, and when this offensive line is bulldozing folks, I mean, you know, see you another day. I mean, you cannot and with Jalen, the passing game, I'm not going to say this passing, in my opinion, and I'm more so always supporting Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't say at this point it's prolific yet, but it's between good. It's about very good, between good and prolific.
Here's the question, though. Does it have to be prolific? Because look at this.
It doesn't need. I don't believe it needs to.
No, it doesn't, because he was 5 of 20, Matt, for 179 yards, like you mentioned
15
before.
to 20, just for the listeners.
15 to 20. Wait, what did I just say?
5 of 20.
Oh my God, 15 of 20. See, I can't read. Folks, no, when I really screw up, I screw up. It's because I'm reading stuff and my brain just doesn't function correctly. I tell my children all the time, I only have a certain amount of gigs in here. I only have a certain amount of gigs, and I'm 48 years old, Matt. It's almost full. It's almost full up here.
The listeners would be pissed. They'd be like, wait, these guys are on here talking about how well Jalen's played. He went 5 of 20. What the hell are these guys talking about?
Yes. Holy crap. Let me revise my remarks, folks, here. 15 of 20 for 179 yards. He averaged 9 yards per attempt. And again, 4 touchdowns. He ended with a rating of 141.5. We don't need prolific. We need a quarterback who is poised and a quarterback who is mature, a quarterback who is wise. That is what Jalen Hurts has become. We don't need freaking 350 yards per game on 35 attempts. We just don't need that from him, because he is putting this offense in good positions time and time again. We're seeing it.
Shout out to one of my favorite folks who I haven't had a chance yet to speak with, Ruben Frank, who does what we do, but at a higher level.
Yes,
Ruben
same
Frank,
here.
He's going to put together these stats, but Jalen Hurts, you put together the 158.3, and then the 141.5 today in a 3-week stretch. I mean, I don't know how often I've seen guys get. I mean, I've seen above 100. Obviously, people average way over 100, but if you're getting in that 130s, you know, that type of passing proficiency, and then getting guys in the end zone. 4 touchdowns this week, 3 touchdowns last week.
Yep.
That, you know, he's going to be mentioned on some interesting lists, and that's going to break some brains. It's going to be
absolutely is. Yes. Well, another theme here as well. And of course, we know that the officiating has been horrible this year in general. I just wanted to mention it on both sides of the ball.
It had to be. It had to be mentioned.
It had to be, man. It has to be mentioned. It's just week after week after week. It never ceases to amaze me. And look, I know, folks, it's bigger, stronger, faster. This game is incredible. I couldn't imagine doing it myself. But the fact of the matter is these guys get paid a decent chunk of money, and they have training in order to know what they are looking for and what they need to see on the field. And time and time again, they get these close calls that mean a lot in certain game situations, and they're getting it wrong. And it affected both teams today.
Yep. 1 second for the listener. I just got to plug in my computer.
Oh, just do what you need to do to plug in. So we're talking about the officiating too. And really, I think the one thing also that I mentioned right off the bat, in terms of what I was going to be looking for in this game was really going to be how the pass rush was going to get home. And we did see that today, because we know the Eagles have been having trouble week after week with scrambling quarterbacks, getting first downs after the opposing offense needs some big yards. We saw Jackson Dart kill them a short time ago, just getting first down after first down after first down. It happened a few times today as well. But in terms of the pass rush, they ended up getting home. 5 sacks in this game, 6 quarterback hits, 7 tackles for a loss. The Eagles defense was on fire here, Matt.
It was wonderful. Wonderful to finally see it. Now, I do think, if you ask me, there's been an interesting debate going on in the ether, is if you can only get one, do you get a world-class, maybe not world-class, but top-end quarterback 2, or do you get a top-end pass rusher? I go for pass rusher because I think that you can, with a good pass rusher, you can mask some of these defensive woes, especially with a Christian Parker and Vic Fangio. They know what they're doing, so they can scheme it up if they can get a guy who can get home. Because so many times, really, you're watching the games, and I'm sure you see it, Jeff, guys are putting pressure on the quarterbacks, but the frustrating part is so many times they're letting guys escape out the back door, getting a hand on guy and not really bringing him to the ground. So the key in this game, there was a lot of violence in how they were looking to bring Jackson Dart to the ground. Like there was one sack in particular where Jalix Hunt kind of grabbed Jackson Dart by the shoulders as they were both falling to the ground and slammed him strongly, very strongly. And that's what you got to do. I mean, because when these mobile quarterbacks, the choice, otherwise these guys are running all over you and could totally change the game. And like the Giants just saw last week with the Bo Nix. Bo Nix isn't, crazy athletic, but he's very, he's mobile. Like a lot of these guys, Justin Herbert, a lot of these guys, these quarterbacks you face, they're not all like Jalen Hurts, but you give that quarterback that second life and they'll kill you. And so, it's really important to be violent with the takedowns. And I was glad to see that today.
Absolutely. Jordan Davis had a sack in the second quarter. It was his 3rd sack of the year, which is, believe it or not, a career high for him. But really, I mean, the Eagles defense, they meant business right out of the gate. On the Giants opening possession, Zach Bond had a tackle for a loss. Jalix Hunt, he was doing real well with the pass rush today, in fact. But really quick, before we go to break here, Matt, and then get to our grades, grading each unit as we do every week. I wanted to mention Dallas Goedert too, because we also talked about who was going to step up in terms of A.J. Brown being out. We talked about Jahan Dotson. He was targeted actually twice, came down with that 1 touchdown. Great catch at the catch point. But with Dallas Goedert, man, when his number is called, he gets it done. He caught such a great touchdown pass before the half. And at that point, he had a career 6 touchdown catches in a season. And then he had his 7th touchdown pass of the season in the 4th quarter. And it
was beautiful design. I loved it.
It really was. That could have been one of the best Kevin Patullo design plays that I've actually ever seen. Amazing. And it's just a slight change, because generally that tight end just goes to the flat. And we saw that a million times. It's a McNabb play, one of the McNabb specials. You send the fullback or the tight end out into the flat and that. And so he sold it that he was going to the flat and took it up the rail. And Jalen hit him on the inside. And Jalen just put it with the perfect amount of touch. People got to give some respect. Some of these throws, okay, maybe not all of the throws, just like any quarterback, are,
A-plus throws. There are some throws that you really can't say that they're not A-plus throws.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That was absolutely one of them. And now Dallas Goedert with his 7 touchdowns in 8
career
games
year,
this
baby.
Season. Yes. I mean, he's had dude, he had 8 touchdowns in 36 regular season games from 2022 to 2024. And he also has now tied Deshaun Jackson for the 6th most catches in Eagles history. He's made his mark on this franchise, and I absolutely love seeing it. So,
I love it.
Buddy, do you have any more themes before we head to break and then before we get to our grades?
I did mention we will see the TV determined in Lambeau how much AJ Dillon's playing. Maybe they were arresting him for the return to Lambeau.
Maybe. Yes, maybe. I mean, we've seen a number of games here where, Will Shipley hasn't been getting the ball. I mean, he did have 3 carries. He only got 2 yards out of those 3 carries, and it was towards the end of the game. But they haven't been using Will Shipley. Haven't really been using AJ Dillon too much either. And this was a game where, I mean, Tanks Bigsby, I think he had 2 carries, 2 or 3 last week. So they're finally getting to the point where they're like, all right, Saquon Barkley had 14 carries for 150 yards. I guess we should start giving the other running backs some opportunities here. Why trade for somebody with 2 draft picks if you're not going to utilize them in the offense and at least give them, he had 9 carries in this game.
Some opportunities, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got one more theme really quick.
Buddy.
We don't have to dwell on it too long. But regression to the mean is a theme, folks.
Oh,
if things are going too poorly in life, things are going to look up for you. If things are going too well, just understand that they're not always going to go so well. I say that because sometimes AJ Brown, you go 2 games in a row, with 6 targets, and the next 2 weeks you might have 25 targets and have 4 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley today, his team spirit shines through. He got to 150, nice round number. All right, get Bigsby in there. I don't really got it. I gave him the burst, tried to take it to the crib. Now let's get Bigsby in there. Let him go get 100. And so regression to the mean, folks. AJ Brown and being frustrated. There's reason to be frustrated because you want to see us to be able to put teams away, especially in these things. You don't want people to be able to talk crazy about AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts, but also, when you are a superstar like these guys are, if you have a rough game, you'll be back. Jamar Chase has games where you get blanked. Jerry Rice had games where he got blanked. Terrell Owens, Randy Moss. AJ, you're going to be back. If you're listening, if somebody passed it along to regression to the mean, remember regression.
Absolutely.
And then when you're going through those 2 weeks where you got, 31 targets, or 3 weeks, 31 targets, 4 weeks, 31 targets, maybe in the next 2 weeks, maybe you have 8 targets because other people got to get their opportunities too. And you being a superstar, it's not just a decoy. I mean, it really changes things for folks. So
I think that's a great
is a theme.
Dude, that is a fantastic theme, Matt, to take us not only to the break, but right here in week 8, like that is a fantastic theme for us in the Eagles Nation to keep in mind as we still have a lot more games. This team has a lot more games to play, and we've got a lot more games to go through and to watch and to, just be connected with this team in a lot of different ways. The regression to the mean, man, that is a fantastic theme. It really is. As we're going to be going to break here and as we conclude week 8. So with that being said, folks, again, we're talking to Matt Rogers, the Honorable Mention podcast. He's over on YouTube. I listen to the show on Apple Podcasts. He's on Spotify as well. Search out the Honorable Mention podcast, whether you're on Threads, if you're over on Blue Sky, search him out and search out Matt too. He's usually at Politidope on some of the socials out there. So
POLITIDOPE for folks. It's
there you go.
Spell it out.
Yep, there you go. And like and subscribe to us if you're watching on YouTube. You can also hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos. We are on the socials as well, along with Matt. Just search out the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show. You can search me out as well. I'm still over at Twitter/X at Jeffrey_Warren. I'm over on Blue Sky. Just search out Jeff Warren. Over on Threads as well. Over on TikTok at Mr. Jeff Warren. You can like our Facebook page as well. We are going to take a break here, folks. When we get back, we're going to do our grades. think there's going to be a lot of A's, Matt. I got a feeling, buddy. There's going to be a lot of A's. But folks, we're going to be back in just a bit. All right, we are back with our good friend Matt Rogers from the Honorable Mention podcast, and we're going to get into our grades by unit as we are still digesting this win, the Eagles beating the New York Giants by a score of 38-20. The quarterback position, Jalen Hurts getting an A+++++ from me. What do you give him, Matt?
Well, what did you think, Jeff, about the technique on Tanner McKee's victory formation? Did he get under center?
I liked it. It was fine by me. I enjoyed watching it. Yes.
I'll give him an A+ too. So we're going to round that one out with an A+ on the day. Then let's just stick the landing on that one.
Okay, sounds good. Move to the running back position. A+++++++. Take
Bigsby 9 for 104.
Oh my gosh. When Tank Bigsby is doing that, and when you are gashing the New York Giants defense the way that they did, Saquon Barkley with 150 yards, Tank Bigsby with 104 yards, Jalen Hurts had 22 yards in this game. Will Shipley, like I mentioned earlier, only had 2 yards, but really 276 total rushing yards in this game. And coming from the running backs, my gosh, just it's A+ all around.
Absolutely. And I love, I love, I'll get to this later. I'll pin it because it pertains to another group. So let's get to
okay. All right, sounds good. Let's move to the wide receivers and tight ends. So the receivers in general, I'm going to be giving them an A+ as well. They did, I think, everything that they needed to do in this game. And like we talked about before the break, there were guys on this team from a receiving perspective who stepped up to the plate big time. Dallas Goedert, 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley with a receiving touchdown. Jahan Dotson with a receiving touchdown. Devontae Smith targeted 9 times, caught 6 balls for 84 yards. He averaged 14 yards per reception. I think the receivers did a fantastic job on the day. I give him an A+. What do you give him?
Yeah, I really liked it today. I also like getting some looks from Darius Cooper too. I like the looks that the Giants, maybe other teams won't. Some of the coverages, I was wondering whether we were going to see a jump ball from Darius Cooper. That would have been really exciting.
That would have been fun. But hey, the pass interference call, we'll take it, right?
Yes, it was very good. Yes. You can't argue with A+ today.
Nope. Offensive line, folks, in my book, not going to get necessarily an A+, but I think it is the first time that I am going to give an A grade. It's going to be an A- for the offensive line.
Agreed.
And it goes to what we were talking about earlier, man. They needed to step up. They needed to provide this offense, not just with pass protection for Jalen Hurts, but to get that running game going. We certainly saw that. I give him an A-. What do you give him, buddy?
Yeah, I really liked the A- is a good grade. I really liked seeing at the end of the game, there were just plays where, sexy Dexy's walking over to the sideline, just leaning back, just wore out, wear his ass out. I loved it. It was absolutely wonderful. There were a couple of, just they can improve from here. I think, and it is something, it says a lot about what we think about this team that Tank Bigsby, again, I would keep saying it. I probably will say it another 4 times, folks. So I'm sorry for the folks who are tired.
I can't wait to hear him say Tank. Yeah, I can't wait to hear him say Tank Bigsby while we're talking about the defense. I can't wait to see how he dovetails that one. It's going to be great.
9 for 104. I mean, and then I really love this is what I was going to speak on earlier, is that Jordan Mailata in interviews this week leading up to the game was talking about how he really put this is an important game to him. Nick talks a lot of times throughout the week. His point of view is you should take the same intensity to every week.
Yeah.
But if certain guys need an edge, then that's what it needs. I think Jordan Mailata needed that edge this week. And some players do. Some players can just go about their business and they do what they do. And some players need a little fire. Jordan Mailata needed that fire today, and he called the game 2 weeks ago. He had the worst game of his career.
Yeah.
And so it's important for him today, go into this bye, running into the Packers, who people have in the preseason. We're talking about, had they already caught up to the Eagles?
Right.
Opportunity to go 7-2, walking out of Lambeau in a couple weeks. So really important, and it's going to ride on, once again, this Eagles offensive line, I think, is short of the quarterback position, the most important, unit on this team.
Yeah,
They ride this offensive line, push and all to where they're going to go. And so important that they really got the ship righted, because really Jalen threw the ball well enough. Had they not been road grading, folks, sorry to, draw this one out a little more on you, Jeff, but had they not been road grading on folks in this game, then I think the Eagles still could have won this game, but you don't feel as good going into the bye.
And then the narrative with the bye would have been just horrendous from
37-38
radio. Yeah.
They win 37-38 over the Giants.
Yeah. That would have been terrible. It would have been terrible. But all right, man. Dude, let's talk about the defensive unit now, and specifically the defensive line in terms of our grade. I think when you look at Jalix Hunt, Moro Ojomo, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter, they had the best game so far of the season. Each guy, I think, had a tackle for a loss. Each guy had a quarterback hit. Each guy, I think, had a sack as well. So you are looking at a defensive line that was able to get home and do what we wanted them to do in this game. So I'm gonna give the defensive line an A- actually this week. What do you give them?
I agree. I think when I'm watching Moro this year is not looking as good as Moro. I don't know. Maybe people know to slide over to him more so now. When I'm watching Moro, I feel like I want to see more Ty Robinson. And Moro had a good game today, Moro Ojomo, but I think I want to see more Ty Robinson. I'm going to give him a B+.
Okay.
I am sick of seeing guys slip out of their grasp.
Yeah.
And I don't know how duplicable this effort is, because this Giants wide receiver core without Neighbors, it's not dependable. So, in this 1-2-3, let it go, 1-2-3, let it go type of offense, Jackson was looking to hold it. And so he presents opportunities for sacks, just like the number 11 guy who almost won an MVP for the Eagles last week. He's a guy who holds the football, Mr. Wentz. And so it presents opportunities for lesser than defensive lines to go and get sacks.
Yes.
And so I think they had less of an uphill climb this week because of the style of offense and the weapons that aren't there for the Giants. So I just don't want to get too carried away. I think that they played well today. I just don't know how duplicable this effort is. And I do want to see some more Ty Robinson.
Yeah. Do you think they had less of an uphill climb today also because of what happened to Cam Scatterbo going down? Because I got to tell you, Jackson Dart, but Jackson Dart became a different quarterback when his go-to guy, his friend, the person that he has been dependent on now for these past 4 weeks, went down. There was a sizable the concentration level, perhaps. It was just completely different with Jackson Dart when Cam Scatterbo went down. And I think that was part of why the defensive line was able to produce also at the level they were able to produce today.
And he was looking to make the big play. And so, he would evade one guy, but he's still looking deep downfield, and another couple guys to get him. So, I don't want to rain on. It's a great game. A bunch of guys with opportunities, highlights, stuff they'll never forget. I don't want to downplay that. I just say I don't want anybody to walk away from this game, maybe who with the last name Roseman, and think, hey, maybe I don't need to make a move, because hell yeah, you do need to make a move at this position.
Yes,
in my opinion. And 37-year-old BG, who I don't think I didn't see him have a snap today.
I don't think he was active today. Actually, I do not think he was active.
Okay, because I didn't think I saw him on the field. He will be an addition, and it's good. I think he will get sacks. He's not the move, though.
Right. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Let's move to the linebackers here. And I got to say, I'm giving the linebackers an A+ because I just think and yes, Nakobe Dean did give up a big reception, which
he played
it
perfectly.
He did. And quite frankly, the tackles for loss that Nakobe Dean had in this game, there was him just blowing up plays. Zach Bond at this point, okay, his 6 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 passes defended in this game, and a quarterback
it's ridiculous. It's Madden stuff.
I genuinely believe he's going to potentially be the best Eagles linebacker of all times. And that's saying something because Seth Joyner is up there. You know, I mean, Seth Joyner's up there. Jeremiah Trotter is certainly up there. You know, William Thomas is up there. But, like, we're getting to that point with Zach Bond where he is if he continues to have seasons like this, like he had last year and he's having this year, he's going to be in that conversation for one of the best Eagles linebackers of all time.
Because he's on his way to all pro this year.
Yes,
I mean,
it's incredible.
Linebackers playing, and it's crazy. Since we are talking about linebackers, I found it notable that Nakobe Dean was in a lot of times and Jahad Campbell was on the sideline, not edge rushing, but Nakobe Dean was on the field. Campbell was on the sideline. So that says a lot about what they think about this team, because they picked Jahad Campbell high, and I don't think they're down on Jahad Campbell.
No, I don't think
I just think they're up on Nakobe Dean and his football IQ.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his physicality.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's move to the secondary. This is a secondary that gave up 193 yards receiving. In general, Wan'Dale Robinson only had 48 yards. Devin Singletary had 28 yards. Darius Slayton, 26 yards. Daniel Bellinger, 21 yards. The receiving core of the New York Giants didn't have a great day, and it was because the secondary played some lights-out football. So, and granted, the Giants receivers certainly aren't the greatest receivers in the world, but you wanted to see the secondary really come together like they did today. I give them an A+. What do you give them?
I'll go with an A-. There were a couple Jackson Dart. I have one throw on my mind in particular when we talk about this. There's the throw up the rail when they're going up the left side of the and the tight end drops it he dropped it and then would have potentially separated him from the ball.
Yeah.
But there were opportunities that it was like, that could have been game changers.
Yeah.
I think this today was the best game of the secondary season.
Yep.
And so I'll stay in the A range, but
okay.
I don't want to act like they were, Stephon Gilmore and Darrelle Revis out there today.
All right. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right. Special teams. Let's grade special teams. First kick return of the game. One of the members of special teams didn't line up correctly. It was a penalty. Jake Elliott missed a 58-yarder today. He made all his other field goals and special points. Will Shipley, though, boy, a nice 41-yard kick return in the first quarter. Then he had a 32-yard return in the second half. I'm gonna give overall special teams a B this week. What do you give them?
Yeah,
BB+, I think too. I mean,
B+, yeah, more in the because they did more than do no harm, really. Because you just need they just need them to play C+ generally to be good. They did better than that. I mean, they really set us up in good ways. I mean, Jake, you did have the miss from Jake. That's a long field goal try. So I'm not really mad at him for the 58. I'm not really counting that against their grade too much.
Okay.
More BB+. So we're in the same range.
Sounds good. Vic Fangio, I think, called a fantastic game. I'm going to be giving him an A this week. Straight up A. What do you give him?
I loved it. I love the game plan. I want to see more, again, requests, Vic, if you're listening. More Jahad Campbell straight up edge. Let's see, maybe try to see him with his hand in the dirt in the game. Some guys play differently than they do in practice when they're out there and they get to knock the hell out of somebody. He's not worried about hurting potentially Jordan Mailata or, somebody who the Eagles really care about. I want to see him more with his hand in the dirt, maybe to help this. If Jahad Campbell can be that guy, maybe you don't have to make a move at pass rusher. So I want to see more of that and Ty Robinson, but I think today was excellent. Guys not getting cooked. Keely Ringo, no tweet. I mean, do we see any tweets, anything about Keely Ringo today?
No. I don't know what was happening. I guess he was playing good football. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like when they don't call your name, you're doing great.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, I'm going to be giving these guys an A this week. I think it was Kevin Patullo's best game of the season. I mean, the offense was rolling. today. It really was. There were a few hiccups here and there, like there is in every game of professional football. There were hiccups, but, given the fact that A.J. Brown was not on the field, given the fact that this needed to be another, quote, get-right game, especially in terms of the offensive line and the rushing attack, and it actually happened, and then some, because of who? Tank Bigsby with his 9 rushes for 104 yards. See, I said it. But I really think it was definitely a great game plan overall. I'm giving them an A. What do you give them?
Yeah, I got to give him an A+. I mean, this is a big spot. It's really important for the mojo of this team that, and with all respect to AJ Brown, who's an important part of this team. It was important for AJ Brown to be standing there on the sideline with his towel and under the hoodie as he was, watching, just like when T.O. got to watch the Eagles go to the Super Bowl. It's like,
absolutely,
you are an important part of this team, but we can win and be excellent without you. And it's not that we want to be excellent without you, but you're not going to alone dictate the success of this team, the mojo of this team. I think it was so important. No one's ever going to say it in the media. It goes unsaid, but that was put out there. Our biggest offensive output in a while. I don't remember the last time Jalen threw for 4 touchdowns. I don't know if he ever threw for 4 touchdowns without AJ on the field. All the questions, all the discussion, and it's implicit in the discussion that Jalen's just not good enough. So he knows this is all about him at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so in the biggest spot, you dial it up. Jalen throws for 4. Saquon's got 150. Let Tank go off for 9 for 140.
Yep.
A+.
I love it, man. Getting that one, getting that last Tank Bigsby.
9 for 104.
Yes. Folks, that is our Eagles postgame podcast show here for week 8. If you want to get in touch with us, PhiladelphiaSportsTable@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts about the Philadelphia Eagles, this week 8 win against the Giants as they are heading into the bye week? We'd love to hear from you. Again, PhiladelphiaSportsTable@gmail.com. And as the Eagles have a bye this coming week, our opposition territory pod is going to be specifically about the NFC. We're going to have our good friend Evan Tex Western from AcmePackingCompany.com, the Green Bay Packers SB Nation site. He's going to be jumping on to dive into what we've been seeing from the NFC in general. We're going to be getting into a lot of teams here that the Eagles are going to be looking to pound their door down during the course of this second half of the season. So stay tuned for that.
This is the last week to do that. Actually, folks.
Yep.
The last week
Absolutely.
to get that done.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great show, and we got a lot of great content coming to you this week. A lot of Sixers talk. We're going to have some college football talk on our main show as well. And again, our friend Matt Rogers here, we thank him so much for joining us. The Honorable Mention Podcast. Search it out on YouTube. Search it out on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. And search out Matt on the socials out there. Search out the Honorable Mention Podcast and at Politidope. That's where you're going to find our buddy here. Matt, man, it was great talking to you. Thanks so much for jumping on, filling in for the guys, man. I'll always love talking to you. We got to do it again, my friend.
Oh, can't wait.